What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video. In this video today, I'm going to share the biggest positive change I've made when it comes to my training. And you might be thinking to yourself, let me guess, is it a new training program? No, Skippy. Is it something to do with diet that led to, a better training result? Not so, my friend. Maybe I started putting in a lot more effort, just, train past the pain. No, my effort's already pretty damn high. What I changed was my focus. In particular, I basically now don't check my phone when I train. I know that sounds super minor, but I want to talk about focus, intent, not trying to multitask when you lift, and essentially entering what they call a flow state. I'm sure some of you right now, maybe leave a comment in the comment section below right now if you're watching this while you're at the gym on your phone, on your mobile device. And that's okay. But there's essentially, for me, the big problem, there's two things I think of. One would be the chronic stress of being on your phone. And what I mean when I say that, how many people try and multitask? Maybe you work from home, maybe you're a student, maybe you got girl problems, whatever the case might be, in between training, especially if you do powerlifting or power building, you're resting 2 to 3 minutes, you probably aren't training with a friend, so you're on your own, in the gym, on your phone, in between sets. And that's fine, but inevitably, what I have found for myself, I'll start working because I'm like, hey, let me be efficient. I have all this shit I got to do. I got a few businesses, I have the podcast, I have these videos, I'm trying to think of all these different ideas. Let me do some of that work while I train. But what ends up happening, you start thinking less about that training and more about that chronic stress. So now you start associating the gym with the things that you got to do. And instead of all the effort being dedicated towards the gym, you're thinking about work, you're thinking about those problems, you're thinking about all those things you have to do. So even if you don't run a business, even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're still just going to school, being on your phone incessantly while you train, I don't think is a good idea. I could give the analogy that for most people, they would immediately get, if you had a bad day at work, at school, at home, and you try to train, sometimes you could summon the demon within you, right, and get a good training effect. But other times, it's just chronic fatigue that you're feeling. You're like, oh man, I feel kind of fucked up. I don't want to have a bad training session, but this might be one of those days where the bar feels heavier. If you associate the gym with all that other BS that you gotta do, or let's say you're an Instagrammer, who doesn't like posting their shit on Instagram? You're an Insta lifter, and everyone, let's face it, if you lift, it is a rule now that you have an Instagram. Even you posting about yourself, that's distracting you from the gym. So you just hit your set of 10, what do? You find the song of choice, you post it on the gram, you let everybody know what you hit. That's another distraction. And I think when it comes to training, multitasking is not the answer. And so after talking with Eric Helms, just about training, the projects that I was doing and so forth, he made the mention that when he trains, he goes into airplane mode on his phone. So he receives no updates, he can't work. Music's completely fine, right? You want to get in the groove, I get that. Maybe you don't have a positive training environment where you don't have other individuals, so you want to somehow, you're at a commercial gym, you're like, this fucking sucks. I want to get in a flow state. I understand that. But multitasking and not being focused at the task at hand, which is training, I think is detrimental. So even if it's not a stressor, even if it's just something for validation or distraction, I think it's too much of a distraction, which is why I noticed, it was one of my observations, you see, I was in California, for the last 2 weeks, and I trained at 4 or actually 5 gyms. And when I looked around, I would say 90% of lifters, doesn't matter if you're a bodybuilder, if you're a powerlifter, if you identify yourself as a strongman, they're on their phones in between sets. And that's fine. But once again, the best training I've experienced when I was in California, training with others. And it's not just a positive environment. I realized that. I had an epiphany over the last week, another one. They're just happening, eureka moments, which is that it wasn't just a positive environment, is that I was able to focus exactly on training, right? I wasn't able for my mind to become agitated or think about other things. I wasn't distracted. I was focused when it came to training. I had that flow state. I was able to be in the moment is what they talk about. And so I think for a lot of people, when you have a lot of different variables you're trying to juggle with, and you have a phone, which is also your music player, which gives you so many updates, and they've shown via research that they're designed social media to be a dopamine drip where it gives you that incentive to always be on, it distracts you from your training. And man, when you go to the gym, you're there to train. So put your phone, for me, what I found, put your phone on airplane mode. Maybe try and surround yourself with positive people, but don't focus on any of that stress. Training should be cathartic. It should be a place that for a point in time, for some people, it's kind of akin to a little bit of meditation, right? Where they go to a place for solace in order to build themselves. And if you start mixing and matching all those things, it's not good news. And I'm sure Severin's showing you now all the times over the last 4 or 5 months he was working with me. I've been working on getting off of that. And now when I train, I'm in airplane mode always. Is that I was on my phone, and as a joke, so he'd film it between sets, and so that's what you're seeing. But I could tell you this honestly, that my training quality has improved, because I'm assuming for most of you guys out there and gals, you're training hard, right? You enter the gym and you're not like, man, I don't want to be here. You're like, yeah, man, let's train. And so we're trying to take it to the next level. I also assume that your training program is pretty good. Your nutrition is pretty good. So what can we alter in order to enhance our gains? And for me, it's trying to simplify your life. It's trying to be in the moment. It's trying to get into that flow state and crush that shit out there. So honestly, I know guys are thinking about tips. They're thinking I'm going to give them a training tip, maybe a technique tip, and there's a whole lot of that on the channel. This is not that video today. We're talking about something more important, mindset. That's all I wanted to share. When I went to California and I had the opportunity to go to different gyms, I noticed that trend, so I thought I'd talk about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, if you found it helpful, make sure to like the damn video, and I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next one. Peace.
Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.